Ladies and gentlemen, sorry, interview with Josh, the new video. I loved your voice. I had to check out your stream. Oh, no way! That's so cool. Thank you so much. That's what we're gonna have a look at now, actually. I entered this like just before I went for a break, so I'll make it really quick. But basically, Josh created a video essay documentary about creating MMO content. He asked 14 MMO content creators, Asmongold, Nerdslayer, Callum, and a bunch of other different people. And also me. Didn't give me that much of a heads up when he asked me. He said, want to be on a video? Voice. The answer is yes, you do. These are the questions. I want to go through what my answers were because I honestly cannot remember. And just see how bad I sound. I'm not going to go through the whole video because it is 2 hours. And also I don't want to... I don't think the right word is plagiarize, but I don't want to watch his video on my stream without being able to add anything more to it. So if you want to watch the full video, I definitely recommend going and watching it yourself. What's going on with the glasses? Asus ROG sent me a PR kit. They sent me a deck chair and glasses and a bunch of other things. I just opened it. So let's get into it.
The MMORPG genre has millions of players across multiple games, from major studio releases to the more niche markets. And yet, as a genre, it has relatively few content creators. There are a handful of general MMO channels covering the genre as a whole, several video essay channels who touch on MMOs from time to time, and then specialised channels who focus on a specific game. But when you compare the MMORPG content creator roster to larger genres like first-person shooters or battle royales...
It's cool that during that like scrolly thingy that it featured most of the creators that were videos that popped up there is in this video. Like, speaking.
Even individual games
Not
like
sure if he does it on
Minecraft or
purpose.
League of Legends, no one has been edited to appear out of context or to provide a false narrative away from their true feelings. The Lazy Peon was unable to talk via audio, but he did provide a complete list of answers to me, so those will be read in. Because of the need to be thorough
if I knew
and
that
give
was
each
an
creator
right.
time to explain
I'm really bad at like verbally answering questions because my brain just takes like 5 hours to compile a sentence properly. But typing is so easy. I'm so eloquent when it comes to typing. I should have typed my answer, especially because he wasn't using my video. I could have faked it. Fuck. I could have typed my answer and then just read it out. Damn, I could have sounded way smarter. Okay, so let's skip to how I answered that question. So, dude, ow, no scratchies. Stop it. The question was, is the MMO content audience as large as people think? That's the question that he asked me.
But I don't think we actually move the needle, which is kind of what you're saying, as much as people might think.
If you were talking to like a mum and you were like, hey, I play an MMORPG, they'd be like, what's that? Is that like Fortnite? Because the concept of an MMO is massively multiplayer online. So it gives that false perception that there are so many people to populate, but in reality it really isn't. I think there's a small amount of gamers that play MMORPGs regularly. It's interesting that 50 to 70,000 seems like a lot of people because I can't help but point out that Josh is like, I mean, he's got an education, mate, ain't and so do I to an extent, but he's a lot more, I mean, he's like 10 years older than me to start off with. He has a bigger vocabulary than me, and his accent is way more English than mine. So his voice compared to me, I just sound like a 4-year-old that's like, yes, it's MMORPG, yeah, Fortnite, like, oh. But I do have some good points. I just think I could have put it across better. It's interesting that 50 to 70,000 seems like a lot of people because... So for context, there's currently 50 to 70,000 people playing an MMO that's quite popular. I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was, but yeah, he gave that as a statistic for me to run with. It actually... Putting games on your phone? Like 8 million people playing Fortnite right now. So there's currently 80 million people playing Fortnite right now.
Even just talking to a friend. His idea of an MMO.
Yeah, so, you know, it was alright. Could I have answered that better? Probably. I mean, I think the thing is with, I wanted to say, I interrupted him while he was talking, but the thing is with mainstream media covering any other game other than MMOs, it's because MMO games aren't that accessible for everybody. Everyone can kind of pick up a controller and play FIFA, or everyone can download Apex Legends for free. You know, it's this quick hit gameplay that doesn't take a lot of time to invest in. Fine, PUBG, yes, you could be collecting guns for like 40 minutes and then just die instantly. That's fine, but it's still quick hits. It doesn't take a lot of time investment. Whereas MMOs do. I was on a BBC podcast called Press X to Continue. I think there's 3 seasons right now. And what my job was for that was to basically play any upcoming games so that I can do a review of it. Are you okay? Anyways, all of the games that I mentioned during my time in Press X to Continue were never MMOs. I think I briefly mentioned Shadowlands when it first came out, but we were only given maybe a week notice, like, oh, you're going to be on next week's podcast. You know, these are the notes. Go and find a game to review. And you can do that with games like Grounded, which is the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of game. You can do that with the latest update of Warzone. You can do that with Battlefield 2042. It's easy to do for those types of games, but MMOs, they just take way too long. So, and it's such a shame because I could have commented on New World, I could have commented on ESO, I could have commented on WoW. Yeah, there was so many MMORPGs that I could have brought to Press X to Continue, but it was impossible to do because MMORPGs take time to review. It takes time to settle. I could report on the differences between pre-patch and the patch, but I mean, what's that going to tell you? It's not going to tell you the enjoyment of my game or game time or anything. So, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult for mainstream stuff. Okay, so the next question was... The next one was, what negative experiences have you had with hyper-enfranchised fans not liking your content?
Concerns that I might have, or...
You might have actually changed that.
Hundreds or thousands of hours in content for, and I'd like to focus on the...
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing, but that's the question that I answered.
So
I've got quite a unique position, I think, creating content with World of Warcraft, because the overall perspective of WoW is quite negative. You know, hyper-enfranchised fans actually not liking the game. And so when I do say something positive about the game, because the game is actually really good in certain elements, they don't like that. If you think something else is good or something else is bad, your opinion is invalidated. If your opinion doesn't follow the cult group opinion of the game, you're alienated. And it almost feels like you're causing trouble by speaking your mind. It's kind of like going against the grain. And if you go against what they are already thinking, then it doesn't matter what you say. Your opinion's invalidated. It doesn't mean anything because it's not what they already think of the game.
Yeah, this
so
is
a lot of people tend to watch content from MMO reviewers and stuff, not to really get an opinion, to form their own opinion, but to justify their opinion or get confirmation bias. That's what I'm looking for. Confirmation bias. So when I put out a video where I'm praising the devs for a certain element of World of Warcraft, it doesn't really go down well because the overall arc of WoW is pretty negative, to be honest. I mean, you just go into the Discord, go into the Gold Shouting World of Warcraft chat, and you'll see people complaining about WoW right now. I haven't been in there for a couple of days, but bet there'll be people complaining about WoW in there. That's just what WoW players do, and to an extent, I feel like that's what a lot of MMO players do. They do complain about their game. I think because the game is more than a game to them. I think that it's a place to hang out. It's the social life of these players. They'll go to work, they'll come home, they'll log in, they'll do whatever, they'll log out, they'll talk to their friends that they met in the game, or they'll socialize with people outside of the game, but still about the game. It's their social life, so they have something negative to say about it, but also something positive to say about it. WoW players have no social life. MMORPG players don't have any social lives. Asshole. yeah, that might be that. I think that was a good statement. I think because a lot of the other ones were focusing on how it's difficult to say something negative about a game that people love because people don't take that the right way, even if it is constructive criticism. And really, the only people that can do constructive criticism are the people that are constantly playing. Sorry, are the people who have knowledge of other games. I think, because if you think about it, if you constantly played one game for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, you kind of just get used to the abuse that the game throws at you because you don't know any different. Whereas if you exposed yourself to how other games work, how other developers treat their customers, their players, then you kind of have something to compare it to. So I feel like constructive criticism from content creators and reviewers is actually spot on in some cases. And I know not a lot of people like to hear that, but I'd say especially going from 14 years of playing World of Warcraft and now suddenly playing Guild Wars, like, oh my god. Oh my god. There's so much different. Like, there's so many good things that Guild Wars does. Yeah, it's really eye-opening. Culture is worth looking at right this minute. Well, you must love WoW. WoW completes me. I have no complaints. I absolutely love WoW. Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, I didn't know whether it was appropriate to draw that metaphor, but yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. I have no social life. Okay, so the next question was the benefits and downsides of being a general MMO channel versus a game-specific channel. Stockholm Syndrome is, isn't it being, like, blindsided by the abuse that you're receiving from your abuser? And instead of fighting back, you end up developing feelings for them or something? I'm not too sure. I've not experienced it. I've not done a lot of research into it, which is why I didn't want to draw the metaphor, because I not really aware, but yes. Sympathizing, that's the word I was looking for, yes. Okay, question. Yeah, the benefits and downsides of being a general MMO versus game-specific channel. I don't know, I can't remember what I said for this, so I'm quite excited. I said nice things.
If you want to be seen as a professional content creator with a certain amount of authority, then you would focus on a specific game. But the downside of that is not only is your success tied to the success of that game, but also your opinion of that game is incredibly jaded.
Yes!
Because you've never experienced
this is what I was just saying.
MMO in detail at all, so you have nothing to compare it to. You also can never ever satisfy a viewer if you are a general MMO channel, because you are never able to put in the hours, the blood, sweat, tears, dedication that a player that spent hours and hours and hours on that game. You will never be on their level. You will never have their opinion. You will never be able to give them the confirmation bias that they're looking for because you simply don't have the experience.
In general,
I think that was good.
Play the game.
That was good. It's annoying myself how slow I'm talking, but it's because I'm thinking. And that's what I mean. I struggle with putting together sentences like that need to be really thought out. That's how slow it takes for my brain to kind of like get things going. It annoys me how slow I'm talking. But yeah, I think that's kind of, yeah, that's confirmation bias. Opinions are jaded. Yeah, I think I like that. That was good. Whichever the two do I want to be, or generalized or specific? I want to be generalized, 100%. I do not want to be specific again. I was specific in 2020 and then the lawsuit happened and I suffered horrifically for that. So yeah, never again. I lost viewers, I lost followers, I lost money. Like, no, never again in mine. That's why, you know, I've, Kingy963. That's why I got rid of this channel. Oh, I got rid of all the thingies too. But this is the channel that's got all the WoW guides, tips, trips, the how-tos, everything on it, because I don't want to be associated just for one specific game anymore, because it's dangerous. Yeah, like it's dangerous. I got my ass bit hard. So now I'm just trying to do more generalized MMO content, so New World, wow, wow, wow. MMO news, wow. Blizzard, wow. V Rising, Diablo Immortal, wow. So it's more of a generalized thing. And then the next one's gonna be Guild Wars. So yeah, never again am I being specific. My nickname when I was a kid was Kingy, so I switched. Yeah, Nox, I agree. There's quite a lot of good MMORPGs, and there's quite a lot of bad MMORPGs, and there's quite a lot of good MMORPGs that do things terribly, and vice versa. It's fun. You should really explore all of them. Yeah, it needs native views, not Asmon views. Exactly. Right. The next one was how much time realistically can a creator put into an MMO before reviewing it? So that's this one.
100 hours is just incredibly unrealistic. I do understand.
Wait, is that what I started with?
100 hours is just incredibly unrealistic. I do understand where general viewers would come from to expect a content creator to
Okay, to preface that, I didn't know that 100 hours was like the thing. Apparently everyone already knew that before I did. Josh led with that. He said, it takes 100 hours to review an MMORPG. And I was like, what? What the fuck? Apparently it comes from this person who did the statistics and stuff, and I don't know much about it, but yeah. Yeah, I'd love to cover the future ones. Yeah, definitely. Expressive language disorder. Oh.
Understand where general viewers would come from to expect a content creator to put 100 hours into a game, but realistically, that's not gonna happen. And I think that specifically MMORPGs are supposed to replicate different people's lives, and so have so many different paths to take that it's almost impossible to cover that. Just looking at character creation, a lot of games have multiple different starting paths. And for a viewer to expect a reviewer to experience multiple different class paths before even playing the game in order to give a valid opinion is just completely unrealistic.
That's very fumbled, but what I was trying to get at was, you know how in WoW, you pick a different race, you start in a different area, and you experience a different quest line? Well, some quest lines are amazing, and some are horrific. The gnome one, it's fucking awful, I'm sorry, but the gnome starting area, I hate it. But the other ones, like Northshire for humans, you feel such a sense of community, whereas the gnomes feel so isolated. So if a reviewer started with Northshire with humans, for example, and they commented on the fact that it felt so inclusive and so community driven and so alive, and then a viewer was like, oh yeah, this game looks sick, right? Oh, I'm gonna make a gnome. They look amazing. And they go there and they find that the starting zone is deserted, it's cold, it's isolated. Well, that's a completely different experience. And that continues until level 10. And level 10, to get to level 10 as a new player, that could take 5 hours or so, like, depending if they have prior experience with how MMOs work. If they're an experienced MMO player, then a short time. But that's still a completely different experience from the get-go. So, yeah, it's kind of just a bit shit, because your experience of an MMO is going to be completely different to another player's experience of an MMO. So it's hard to comment on that. Hi, Jordan. I'm good, thank you. How are you? What am I doing? Get your ass over to Manchester? I can't. I'm working. Because of the leper disease. Yeah. Like, the story makes sense, but the experience is different. Because of COVID. I think that's what I was trying to say in a roundabout way.
I do understand where general viewers would come from to expect a content creator to put 100 hours into a
Dog's
game,
barking in the
but
background.
realistically, that's not gonna happen. And I think that specifically MMORPGs are supposed to replicate different people's lives.
Silver
and so have
Sora,
so
I
many
recognize your
different
name.
paths
Thank you for the
to
follow.
take that it's almost impossible to cover that. Just looking at character creation, a lot of
Hey,
games
Jordan,
have
thank you for the
multiple different starting
prime.
paths.
How come you're tired?
And for a viewer to expect a reviewer to experience multiple different class paths before even playing the game in order to give a valid opinion is just completely unrealistic.
I wonder how many people skipped over my voice because it sounds so like. It's very British, very emotionless. And that's the thing, like, I don't sound like that when I do my YouTube videos. It's just this caught me off guard and I had to think really hard and it was difficult. I'm sorry. Such a shame I sound like ass. Oh well. Okay, so the next question was, with the changing nature of MMOs, is it worth making longer videos over shorter ones? Should you play X game in X year videos, for example, when you know how long the videos will become obsolete? So this is in the moment videos versus evergreen videos. So videos that kind of serve a purpose then and there, and the evergreen videos which are kind of more like would you play some and some in 2023 and you release that at 2023, you know the shelf life for that video is a year or 2 years, you know, that kind of thing. Hi, Silver Sora. You can has the sub. Thank you for the sub. I have some friends who have been pushing me to get into Final Fantasy, but it has been something which I really do not feel I have time to do. My experience has been mainly playing on friends' accounts to see if I enjoy the game. Give it a go. The good thing about MMOs, right, is yes, they are a massive time investment. However, they're just you. Like, yes, they're massively multiplayer online games, but they are role-playing games, which means you, yourself, and the game. That's it. Unless you get into group content like raids and dungeons or PvP, it is just you. And so you can play at your own pace. That's what I love about MMOs. Games like Apex Legends provide you to play consistently so that you stay on top of the game, you're aware of the updates, and you also improve your ability to be able to aim. Mechanically, your control decreases over time the less you play demanding games like FPSs. Whereas MMOs aren't like that. You don't really, once you know the fundamentals of how that MMORPG works, so like, you know, gems in the armor, which increases the attributes, for example. Once you understand the fundamentals of that MMO, there isn't really a lot that changes unless a new expansion comes out and then a new system comes out with that. That's what WoW's notoriously known for. But a game like Final Fantasy is more a solo story experience with other players around you. So I genuinely feel like that's more suitable for people that have less time, because it doesn't demand a lot of time. But it's a time sink, in a way. You had to work on a sponsored video yesterday, so no days off. Oh, I hope it went well. Look at me, I'm here. Oh, thank you. Hey, Quantum. So yeah, just to reiterate the benefits of making longer videos, like longevity videos, versus short in-the-moment videos.
Always the most popular and attractive thing to a general populace.
I've created a lot of short-term content that exists for a certain period of time and then immediately becomes obsolete within a couple of weeks. Things like mount guide videos for a mount that's just released, or a raid guide video for a raid that's just been released. Those videos do exceptionally well within the first week, but then after that, it drops off significantly. I think so long as you are able to create a video that's entertaining, tells a story, keeps the viewer engaged, then it almost doesn't matter what the shelf life of the video is, because it will continue to draw people in just on the way that you make the video.
Really hard to do this, particularly
like this video, for example, how to get the serpent slime mount, which got a whopping 700 views and then just became completely obsolete because it doesn't really matter. Why do I have a thingy on my head? I have a murloc on my head. Why did I have a murloc on my head? He's grabbing onto the band of my headband. Interesting. What did I actually say? Because I wasn't paying attention.
Obsolete within a couple of weeks. Things like mount guide videos for a mount that's just released, or a raid guide video for a raid that's just been released. Those videos do exceptionally well within the first week, but then after that, it drops off significantly. I think so long as you are able to create a video that's entertaining, tells a story, keeps the viewer engaged, then it almost doesn't matter what the shelf life of the video is, because it will continue to draw people in just on the way that you make the video.
Yeah. So what I mean by that is it doesn't matter. Like the really good example for that is I don't know, this one for example. There's no shelf life on this because there is no date on it, and also Josh has written it so that it tells a story from start to finish. You follow the adventure of his character throughout this game and the experiences that he comes across. So I believe that as long as videos are written like this, they don't have a shelf life to an extent that viewers are immediately aware of. If WoW went through a huge UI overhaul, then videos that were done in this matter about WoW would have a shelf life as soon as viewers click on and they see the UI of WoW. They'll know that it's outdated. Hopefully, WoW never goes through a UI change, because that would be a really stupid idea, wouldn't it, Blizzard? Changing your unique art design that has been unique to your game and very unique for years. It would be stupid, right? To redesign your UI? Okay, the next question was, what challenges does a reviewer face when you know the opening first impression experience of a game is often vastly different to the established end game? Big boy words.
I don't really know if everyone wants this as much as I think they do.
You eliminate a large portion of the game when you don't hit endgame, because raids, dungeons, PvP, that massive core feature of an MMO is always at endgame, or at least the best experience is always at endgame. I actually think that the way that MMOs are constructed are very clever because it prolongs their shelf life for each player. If you think of a single player game, let's take Dying Light, for example, right? It took 70 hours to 100% complete that game. And so many people were really angry about it because 70 hours is such an incredible amount of time. Well, not with MMO players. That's how they've always been. And that's why they're different to any other game that's out there, any other game media type that's out there. They've always been like this. They've always rewarded users for putting in hours and hours of their time into a game.
I think you can actually find some really
I'm just kind of listening to me, like, say words, but I don't know what they mean. Like, what was the point in that sentence? Does anyone know what I was trying to say? I don't know what I was trying to say. Words are hard. It's hard to be smart. Okay, the last question was, how is playing to critique different to playing for fun?
We're talking about be critical.
You spend hours doing the minute little things that everyone else breezes over, hours making notes of the most minor things, because that's what a review is. Some people might take certain things for granted, like a wiggle of an icon or a circle on a mini map, because the average player doesn't really notice those things. But as a reviewer, it's your responsibility to point those out, to make a statement on it, and explain exactly what it is. You don't get to play an MMO the same way as the average person gets to play an MMO, which sounds bizarre, right? Because you're creating a review for the average MMO player, or someone who's never played an MMO before. But your experience when you're playing an MMO for content is completely different. The average player can get through the World of Warcraft starting area in about 20 minutes if they play efficiently. But if you actually went and you critiqued every single experience within the tutorial zone of WoW, you would literally be there for 4.5 hours. I've done it. I know.
Game and it was fun.
Okay, good. I wanted to listen to that because obviously I'm writing a review for Guild Wars at the moment, and I've balanced it between like analysis, like I said, like writing notes and notes and notes. Do you want to see the notes? I don't think I've actually shown you guys anything, right? I've not been playing Guild Wars like the way I would just play Guild Wars, right? if I was just playing it for fun. So every single time, every 5 minutes or so, something notable happens. I stop and I write it down. Just for reference for later. But then also, a good chunk of it was me and Josh doing jumping puzzles, and that was really, really, really fun. And there were certain things that I captured on the video of Josh making a fool of himself, and it was actually quite fun. Jules, thank you very much for the 19-month resub. I really appreciate that. Thank you. So yeah, it's I wanted to see, you know, if it was still okay to put all the funny things in, because there was like really funny elements. Oh my god, it's so bright in here. So yeah, it is, and that's fine, so that's nice. I might go back and watch the rest of that video while I do some work, because I think I could probably pick up a lot of really good tips from those guys. I'd sit and watch it now, but I don't really want to do that. So if you guys want to watch the full video, I will link it for you now. Check the last 30 seconds of the video. Okay.
And if you don't put out quantity, you won't make a living on YouTube. If you've watched this whole video and you're still thinking that you want to make MMORPG content, then good. We want you to. This video wasn't designed to scare you away. It was designed to welcome you into a strange career with a bit of look at the truth behind what you're actually going to experience. If you're a passionate MMORPG player, make MMORPG content. We need you. I need you. There's only so many crap games left until I have to play World of Warcraft. A huge...
You... What? Are you fucking serious? Are you fucking serious?
Huge shout out to all the fantastic creators of World of Warcraft. I need you. There's only so many crap games left until I have to play World of Warcraft.
That's it. I'm uninviting him from my birthday. The fuck? There's nothing wrong with WoW. There's nothing wrong with WoW. WoW is a good game. WoW is a great game. I can't believe he said that. No wonder you wanted me to listen to it. I do play WoW. I was playing WoW yesterday.